In this kind of easily changing environment, what do you think that are the main priorities or the main characteristics that a good drafter should have?
In a complex format like this?
In this case, let's say specifically in
Neo. Okay, you gotta be... Okay, first, it's always fundamentals that are applicable to literally any set that you're ever going to draft, right? You got to get the fundamentals down. That's nice, maybe on a core set or some simple set to get those down. Without that, like you're not going to do well anywhere, and especially not in a complex formats, right? I notice that some of my students that don't have very well developed fundamentals, just basics of Magic drafting and some basic principles. They doesn't matter how they start, but at one point they start struggling a lot in complex sets. Same for any set, but in complex sets, because you have so many things to think about. Like this set has, every card has, I don't know, a small, like 5 paragraphs of text. It's crazy how much text it is.
Yeah.
And then it is, if you don't have the fundamentals down, it is very easy to get lost in synergies and everything. Like, oh, this card works with that one. This, oh my God, all these cards work so well. Maybe they are interesting and they do work so well, but the core of your deck can be very horrible if you're only thinking about synergies, right? That's why the fundamentals are the first thing.
What are the fundamentals that you are referring to specifically?
Oh, well, there are too many. Like
on a basic level, like overview only, just to know what you are talking about.
Okay, what I'm talking about here, like for example for Neo, like the stat lines that you would expect for certain mana value, right? Stat lines for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you expect on a base of the card? And that's like, there's too many to mention, but that's one example, right? And then you can develop like your opinion. Okay, this is great card with it has great synergy with another. But okay, do those cards pass the vanilla test? Are they fine on their own? Like you can't just build a deck around some crazy things that you're doing. If every consistent deck is gonna crush you, like that's one of the things. Right. And then when do you play tricks in your deck? When do you want to stop drafting removal, for example, when you have enough, when something else is maybe more important, and things like these that are not too exciting, but like it's much more interesting to think about all the crazy things that your deck is doing. But when you have those down, it's much easier to make a great deck and have all of those interesting things, and if there are interesting synergies, and patch up the holes, right? I also get into a lot of synergistic starts of the draft. Like I pick a lot of cards that are very, very good together, even though, well, still the deck is not that great because it has a lot of holes. But then it's important to know how to fix those holes. And those holes, a lot of times, are not going to be crazy things. They're going to be like number of early game that you have. So even though your deck has very high power level, very, very strong and interesting things happening with combinations of cards, like maybe every single deck that just plays creatures on curve, boring things, attacks you, wins the game against you, because you never get to do what you want to do. So like how to draft an aggressive deck, how to draft a control deck, how to know what your game plan is, and more important thing, how to adjust to what your game plan actually is in the game, right? You need to differentiate those two. So those are maybe not super exciting things, but all the fun stuff is probably not going to work if you don't have those down. So those are the most important things for a complex set.